lot of people asking, how did term 2 go? So today I want to share with you things that I loved about this second term and things that I didn't love or maybe I had to adapt, and just overall, how did our second term go with my kiddos as we head here into term 3. Welcome to Joyful Noise Learning. I'm Ashley. Hey, new friends, if we haven't met yet, but thank you so much for those of you who have been following us this homeschool year while we use A Gentle Feast, cycle 3, and we have just finished our second term. So to give you a little bit of background, A Gentle Feast is broken up into 3 12-week terms. And in between each of those terms, you have a week of exams or break or what you want to do with that time throughout the whole year. And to give you more background, we're doing cycle 3, which is about the Civil War era, the 1800s, going into the early 1900s in US history. All right, I'm just gonna get into it straight. So what we really loved about this last term was the morning time. And I do wanna talk specifically about A Gentle Feast morning time, resources, you know, the curriculum that I used, and we loved it. This is probably the thing that we were the most consistent with this whole entire term. And I loved every bit, the poetry, the Bible memory work, the poet study, the composer and the artist study. All of those resources were great, and my kids really stuck with it. So we did this nearly 4 days a week for the last 12 weeks. Oh, and the hymns, I didn't mention the hymns, but overall I loved this so much. I didn't hardly adapt it at all. I think I might have switched around 1 or 2 hymns because one of them we've already done before, and one was a Christmas song, not at Christmas time, but overall we've been following it really well, and it's a really nice guide for me in the mornings. Oh, it includes Bible as well. Again, I didn't mention that earlier, but we've been following it very faithfully every morning. One thing I did tweak slightly for my 3rd grader was I noticed halfway through term 2 that the poems that he was memorizing with Form 1, which if you don't know, Form 1 is like 1st grade through 3rd grade, and then Form 2 is 4th through 6th grade. But the poems that he was doing in Form 1 with his little brother were way too easy for him. He was memorizing them within 3 days and then just kind of waiting around for another one for a few weeks. So I ended up adapting and giving him a different poem towards the end of term 2. We started on Tiger by William Blake, and it's a tough one. That's actually a Form 3 poem. And I was like, let's try it. And he did pretty good. He memorized the first 3 stanzas of that, and then we started into our term 3. So what I do plan to do with poetry for him is instead of having him do the rest of Form 1 poems, he's gonna do Form 2 poems with his sister, with his older sister. So, and this is a much better fit for him, and I'm glad I adapted that for him. So my youngest is gonna stick with the Form 1 poems, and he's doing just fine with that. So I've just been super surprised. We haven't been super consistent with poetry like we have this year. And my kids really love it. They really do. And they're always like, oh, can I say my poem? And oh, can I do my poem? And we just really simply read it a few times. We read a stanza over and over a couple times a week. And that's really all we do. It doesn't take a lot of time. And I really do love how it's just putting these great words and rhymes and phrases into their arsenal of knowledge. You know what I mean? So I've really been enjoying poetry this year. All right, now I'd like to share a few things that I changed or adapted this last term. Some of them are Gentle Feast related, some of them are not, or just homeschooled in general. So the first thing was science. I ended up not doing any science that was included in the curriculum or any curriculum. So I shared that in one of my last videos. You can check that out in my science curriculum video. Another thing I found that was really interesting, my 1st grader is reading like crazy, and I've had a hard time keeping up with him with books. He my goodness, I get books from the library, and within a few days, Mommy, can we go back to the library? So I need to either get him bigger and longer books, or just keep getting more books from the library and just trying to keep up with him. So that's been a kind of nice surprise. As far as my 5th grader, we'll jump to her now, but she is my Form 2 student, And I ended up supplementing with language arts curriculum. I felt like I wanted a little more direct writing instructions. I added one of the themed writing units that come from the Institute for Excellence in Writing from IUW, and it's going well so far. We also added Fix It Grammar, but I'm realizing the LA book with the Gentle Feast does have some really good grammar instruction, really simple stuff that I think I'm gonna go back to for term 3. For my Form 1 third grader, I added a spelling book for him as well. We're doing the Evan Moore spelling book, and that's going just fine. He likes the consistency of it. He knows what to expect, and he's doing a lot better in spelling this year. I really struggled with him in spelling in the past, but I think just the consistency of having a consistent routine for the week, for getting your words on Monday, practicing them throughout the week, test on Friday, has helped him a lot. I was never super consistent with that spelling, but I think it's helping him a lot. Also, my third grader finished his nature reader this last term, and I'm not gonna give him another reader. I feel like, oh, he just finished it early. It was supposed to be over the whole year, but he finished it early, and so I'm gonna let him have a little break on his nature reader assignments. And then again, another little update about Gentle Feast, or an adaptation that I did. I haven't been using the teacher's guide other than the morning time guide, but the actual teacher's guide I haven't been following as well, because I'm realizing I'm mostly using the book list and some of the lists that are online. So I'm using the online resources a whole lot more than actually using the printed guide for teachers. So if I were to do a Gentle Feast again, I wouldn't buy the printed teacher's guide. I would just use the online resources, because we got off so much on what was actually in the teacher's guide. I'm not really following that anymore. It's so pretty though. I really like it for planning and all that, but it's such a pretty guide. But all the stuff in there doesn't match anything I'm doing now. All right, next I wanted to talk about a quick note about our scheduling and how the year has gone and how the weeks have been working, and how I kind of want to adapt that a little bit going into this next term and next year. We took a really long time to do term 2, basically. It was supposed to be just 12 weeks from November to like January, I think, but because of Christmas schedules and all that, we took a lot of breaks in November and December. And then we picked back up where we left off in early January, and then continued it into here just a couple weeks ago. So we did just start term 3 just a couple weeks ago. We did take a week off in between term 2 and term 3, but we didn't get exams in because most everybody was sick during that week. And we're still running through that sickness, as you can tell. You can probably hear it in me now. So now I'm not sure what to do, because if I continue with these next 12 weeks with term 3, that's gonna take us all the way into June. And I usually like to take June off for our summer break. We're semi-year round, but we usually end up taking like the last week of May and all of June off, really kind of like unofficially, because that is some of the nicest weather that we have here where we live, and we like to enjoy that time. So I need to decide if I'm either just gonna cut it short and we'll just stop at the end of May, wherever we're at, and just be done, or if we'll just stop at the end of the May, and then once we're done with our break in June, just pick it up where we left off in July, and then finish it, and then start the new unit curriculum. But part of me just kind of wants to just finish it and just be done. So if I'm gonna do that, then if I were to do this again next year, I would probably shorten term 2 a little bit, and then start term 3 a lot earlier, and do a little bit longer term 3. So those are just the thoughts on how scheduling has worked for us this year. I've also noticed that the 12-week stretch is a really long time before we like take a break and kind of switch gears. So I'm probably gonna go back to a 6-week on, 1 week off, 1 week-ish off this coming year. And we'll do 6 terms instead of 3 large terms. Maybe when my kids are older, they might have a little more stamina for a full 12 weeks. They're still in their elementary stage, so we're gonna stick with a little bit shorter sprints, and that might help us, stay focused well. I will say that actually trying to go towards those 12 weeks really did push us, and we were the most consistent with doing our school regularly than I have seen in any previous years past. Like we were so much more consistent this year, and I'm so thankful for that. My kids are getting their breakfast now, don't mind them. Just another talk about year-round schooling again. For our core subjects, usually whenever we finish those in the middle of the year, they just start the next level and then just go, and then we take a break whenever we need a break for summer, and then when we pick up again, we just pick up where we left off with their core subjects. So for example, my oldest started her 6th grade math in early February, I think. My youngest started his level 2 all about reading in February as well. So he flew through level 1. He really probably even didn't need it. He was so quick with that. Anyway, that's another update. And lastly, someone else specifically asked about my oldest, my 5th grader, and her scheduling and how that's been going, because I shared earlier in the year that we were struggling with some pushback with her. And I want to say that it's going really well. She does have a clear expectation of what work is expected from her each day, and she knows the amount of time she has to get it done in. I also set times up towards the end of the week for her to finish anything she didn't finish earlier in the week. But she knows if she can't get it done, then she doesn't have her free time, and she doesn't have her or screen time on our specific screen time days. And I'm just so proud of her. She's done a really good job. We kind of have a good balance of me checking in with her and her being independent in her work and getting it done when she needs to, when she can on her own. We also, before the time change, we're working really hard on getting up earlier in the day and getting started earlier with our work. And she was doing great with that until the time change happened. And now we're back to really struggling to getting up before 9 a.m. So, I get up before 9 a.m., but some of my kids are struggling with that. So, you know, it's just seasons and it's just real life, and you just roll with it and do what you can. But overall, we have a really good flow with our days. My voice squeaked. But overall, we have a really good flow with our days in general and our routines and how they're going. And I'm really thankful for that. There's not too much for me to change and adapt. Maybe some more outdoor time as the weather gets warmer. I want to fit in some time for gardening and yard work, which I don't normally fit that in very well. I'm not very good at that. So that is something I want to work on this coming term 3, is fitting in that time, because otherwise, you know, our days just get so full and we get to the end of the day and I'm like, I don't have enough energy for yard work now. So I need to figure out where we're going to fit that in, how often we're going to do that. And we'll probably have to just follow the weather and see what the weather does. And I'll just have to adapt as we go. And I also plan for just more outdoor school, either in the backyard, on the deck, or in the blanket on the grass. My kids like doing that, or taking them to a local nature preserve and doing school out there. So I'm really looking forward to those things in our term 3 here, our final term coming up. And that was it. That was hopefully short and sweet. Thank you so much for watching. That is how term 2 went and what I'm looking forward to in term 3. And I hope you guys are having a good last leg of your homeschool year. And I know you're probably all looking at stuff for next year, right? I know I am. So I plan to announce my curriculum picks very soon here in the next coming weeks. I'm still working on it, guys. I'm still trying to decide which way we're going. Are we going this way? Are we going that way? I'm not sure yet, but I at least have it narrowed down to like 2 ways and not like 6. And then our core subjects we have fairly narrowed down already. So I just have to decide for like our family subjects, which way we're going. So please subscribe and keep your eyes open for those videos coming up soon. So how did your term 2 go, and what are you looking forward to for this last part of your school year? And you guys rock at homeschooling. Go find his joy among the noise. I'll see you later.